In the sprawling wilderness of western Montana, with its jagged peaks and endless forests, life is often defined by quiet isolation. For decades, the region's natural beauty has attracted adventurers, college students, and families seeking peace away from the chaos of urban life. But between 2008 and 2016, this quiet serenity was shattered by a chilling mystery: the unsolved disappearances and murders of multiple young women, aged 18 to 25, across Missoula, Flathead, Lake, Ravalli, and Sanders counties. Though each case bore unsettling similarities, state authorities consistently denied any connection, brushing aside whispers of a serial killer stalking the region. To this day, the cases remain unsolved, and no arrests have been made. The absence of suspects and the silence from law enforcement have only deepened the anguish of the victims' families and the fear of those who remain. It began in May 2008, when 21-year-old Kara Sullivan, a junior at the University of Montana, vanished after leaving a downtown Missoula bar. Her friends last saw her around midnight, walking toward her car. The next morning, her vehicle was found parked 2 blocks away, unlocked, with her purse and keys inside. Extensive searches yielded no clues, and Kara's disappearance became the first in what would later be described as a grim pattern. In July 2010, 19-year-old Emily Parker went missing in Polson after attending a 4th of July celebration near Flathead Lake. She had planned to stay with friends but never arrived. Her cell phone last pinged near a desolate stretch of highway leading into the Mission Mountains. 2 weeks later, her body was discovered by hikers, partially buried in a shallow grave. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma and signs of strangulation, but no physical evidence or witnesses linked anyone to the crime. By 2012, the disappearances had escalated. Alyssa Greer, 22, a bartender in Kalispell, failed to return home after her shift one snowy December night. Her car was discovered in a remote parking lot near Whitefish Lake, its engine still warm. Like Kara, Alyssa seemed to have vanished into thin air. Months later, her remains were found in a ravine nearly 20 miles away, her cause of death undetermined due to advanced decomposition. The disappearances and murders continued sporadically over the years, each case hauntingly similar: young women, often alone, vanishing near populated areas. Their bodies, if found, were discovered in remote, hard-to-reach locations, their deaths shrouded in mystery. Despite the growing fear, law enforcement agencies maintained that the cases were unrelated. There is no evidence to suggest the work of a serial offender, Missoula County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Chris Randall stated during a 2014 press conference. Yet families of the victims and local residents weren't convinced. "How many young women have to disappear before they admit something is wrong?" asked Lynn Sullivan, Kara's mother, during a candlelight vigil held in 2015. "This isn't a coincidence. Someone is out there, and they're being ignored." Without answers, the public turned to speculation. Some believed the killer was a local, familiar with the rugged terrain and able to navigate it undetected. Others suggested an outsider, perhaps a transient or truck driver, using the highways to strike and escape unnoticed. Among the theories, one chilling possibility stood out: that the perpetrator wasn't working alone. This idea gained traction after an investigative journalist, Rachel Haney, published a 2016 article analyzing the disappearances. Haney noted the logistical challenges of disposing of bodies in such remote areas and questioned whether a single individual could evade capture for so long. "This is not the work of an impulsive killer," she wrote. "It's calculated, deliberate, and possibly collaborative." Despite mounting pressure from families and activists, the investigation stalled. Law enforcement cited jurisdictional challenges, limited resources, and the lack of concrete evidence. Forensic advancements were hampered by the passage of time and the rugged conditions in which the bodies were found. The unsolved cases. By 2016, the known victims included: Kara Sullivan, 2008, disappeared in Missoula, body never found. Emily Parker, 2010, murdered near Polson, killer unknown. Alyssa Greer, 2012, found in a ravine near Kalispell, cause of death undetermined. Tessa Lindstrom, 2013, last seen in Hamilton, her remains discovered near the Bitterroot River a year later. Mariah Daniels, 2015, a 20-year-old college student who vanished while hiking alone near Flathead Lake. Her backpack was later recovered, but she was never found. Each case represents a life cut short, a family left in agony, and a community burdened by unanswered questions. For those living in western Montana, the unsolved murders cast a long shadow. Women in the affected counties altered their routines, avoiding isolated areas and traveling in groups. Pepper spray and self-defense classes became staples for many, and conversations about safety dominated community forums and local events. "I used to hike alone all the time," said Jessica Navarro, a 24-year-old Flathead Lake resident. "Now, I'm afraid to even jog by myself. It's like someone's always watching." Local businesses and organizations joined efforts to raise awareness. Flyers with the victims' faces lined grocery store windows and gas station counters, accompanied by the same haunting message: "Have you seen anything? Do you know something?" But tips were scarce, and the killer or killers remained elusive. As of today, no one has been arrested or charged in connection with the murders. Authorities insist they have pursued every lead, but their refusal to acknowledge a potential serial offender has left many disillusioned. "It's easier for them to deny it than admit they've failed," said Haney in a recent interview. But their denial doesn't bring these women back. For the families, the lack of justice is a wound that never heals. Every anniversary, every birthday, every holiday is a painful reminder of what's been lost. "I wake up every day hoping for answers," said Sarah Greer, Alyssa's sister. "I go to bed every night with the same questions. Who did this? Why? And why haven't they been stopped?" Western Montana's beauty remains unmarred, but for those who remember the victims, it's tinged with an unsettling darkness. The mountains, rivers, and forests, once symbols of freedom and peace, now hold secrets too terrible to imagine. And as long as those secrets remain buried, the silent hunter of Big Sky Country will continue to haunt the collective memory of a region forever scarred by its unanswered tragedies.